Okay, so I just want to explain what's going on inside of this video. The first couple of clips that you will see is us in the process of actually buying the wedding bands at the store. This was the positive experience that I had going to Tiffany. However, I had two bad experiences, which I will talk about at the end of this video, which is why the video was so long. I gave a lot of backstory, and I explained my personal feelings and what took place inside of the store, my own personal experience, my own personal feelings, and thoughts on shopping and or buying from Tiffany. Long story short, to summarize my video, I won't quite exactly say I had an awful experience and call it entirely bad. I had very mixed feelings because ultimately I love the rings that we got, I love the packaging, and the day that we actually went to buy the rings, I had a wonderful experience with their customer service. However, I felt that their staff failed us in other areas. My first day when I went to simply go ring window shopping and just look and see what I really wanted, I did not feel comfortable at all. And I forgot to mention this part, but I felt so uncomfortable, I forgot to mention that I actually wanted to try on the engagement ring that I really wanted, but I felt that the woman that was helping us out the first time, I felt that she seemed so disgusted with the fact that she had to even touch my hand or that she had to answer my questions that I didn't even feel confident enough to tell her that I wanted to try on one of the rings. I didn't even let my husband know until we left out of the store, so my then fiance. But of course, going back, I was too excited and also in a rush to get ready for Christmas dinner. I also forgot to do it that time too, even though I did feel comfortable with that woman that we had because she was super, super kind. And she even went out of her way to make sure that we got the right size for our fingers, that we had what we wanted. So she let us try on rings on different sizes. She did not rush us at all. I had a wonderful experience the second time when we actually went to buy the rings. But the third time that I went back, I felt that the staff was being extremely rude considering that we were paying customers that just bought a ring literally 2 days ago, and we had to go back to the store, technically due to a mistake they made on their end. They didn't explain what came with the purchase entirely, and thus we thought they forgot part of our order, or part of, the package overall, when really we just misunderstood. We were only supposed to pick one certificate. They give you the option of both a Japanese and an English certificate, and I'll explain all of the stuff later on in the video. Just wanted to quickly explain at the beginning, within the first 5 minutes, what this whole video is all about and why it's so long. In a nutshell, I was giving my backstory and explaining my story, my experience with shopping at Tiffany for the first time. I knew practically nothing about engagement rings or wedding bands really until less than a year ago when I started heavily doing research, watching YouTube videos, reading blog posts, etc. I didn't even know about Tiffany. I'm sure I heard the name before, but I wasn't familiar with the fact that this was a brand that was up there. I didn't know about any of this stuff before. For me, when I thought of designer rings, I thought about Vera Wang or something. So yeah, long story short, everything else is going to be inside of this video. Just me talking, telling you my own experience. And at the beginning, you could see the wedding bands inside of the store, us shopping to go purchase them. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the video.
They look sus.
大丈夫。 Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video, I wanted to kind of give you guys a bit of a review of my experience going to Tiffany and Co. here in Japan. So my experience at Tiffany and Company is entirely my own. This is not to speak for every single store, every single location, and again, I'm just telling you my own personal experience. So yeah. Honestly, I didn't really know much about like engagement rings or, wedding bands or anything else like that. And honestly, to give you a bit of background on my story, I literally got married like at the last minute. There wasn't a lot of time to make decisions or to save for rings, etc. So I had to think to myself, I was kind of given an ultimatum. Do you want to have, an engagement ring and not be able to get, the size diamond ring that you want, get a smaller ring? Or do you want to have, matching wedding bands? It was going to be one or the other, because obviously their engagement rings are super expensive. So if I was going to get an engagement ring, it was going to probably be like a, 0.5 or 0.25, whatever the smallest carat they have available, which the rings have really nice cuts and they're super sparkly. So technically it's worth it anyway, but it's like to pay that much money, like you're just paying for the brand ultimately, and for it to be an insignificant diamond, in my opinion, I didn't find it worth it. I like more of the sentimental value. I wanted to have like, a matching wedding band with my husband, so that's what I personally went for. That's what I wanted. I know that at a later date we'd be able to get wedding bands or whatever later, but I wanted to have it immediately right away. I wanted them to be matching in particular. I know a lot of couples, especially nowadays, like they either don't wear rings at all, they don't buy rings, and or they get rings but they don't care about them being of a matching color. And traditionally you would get a gold wedding band, but I wanted something that would last forever. A really ghetto situation that I had going back to not elementary school but junior high school. I remember being in 8th grade and one of the teachers, not my teacher but like another classroom teacher, she literally came in my room and was like talking to my homeroom teacher, not my home teacher, she was talking to my English teacher. We were like switching classes at this point. This is my first experience switching classes, because the year before I was actually being homeschooled by someone else. But long story short, and I went to private school that year too, so I switched schools. But yeah, long story short, she was going around saying for you to tell your man that you want a platinum ring, and about how they're worth more money, they last forever, and blah blah blah. And so I carried that one little quote with me forever. If you were to ask me what other teachers say, even my home teacher, I can't remember really any lines from them, but that stuck with me until now as an adult. So anyway, I knew in my heart that I wanted to get a platinum band, and in particular I wanted to get matching bands. I was actually really shocked to discover this isn't the norm. People don't naturally get matching bands, even the width of their bands. I didn't know that there were different options for how thick or thin you want a band to be. So not to bore you with all of the information that I learned, just telling you that I did a lot of research before I actually went into the store, because I didn't want them try to cheat me, or to get a ring that I don't really want, because I'm the type of person where even if my ring is let's say that I got my ring at Walmart for $100, I would keep and wear that ring for the rest of my life, because it's not so much about the value of the ring itself per se. It's the fact that this is what my husband got me. This is what we first had. I'm not the type of person that wants to upgrade rings over time. That's not me. It's whatever I get is what I want to keep. Would I be willing to get another ring as a gift over time, as a replacement upgraded ring? Yeah, sure. But I'm probably going to continue to always wear whatever the original was. I always want us to wear these rings. I don't care if we become millionaires at some point in our life. So anyway, now that you have that little piece of information out of the way, I did a lot of research on them, and I ultimately decided that I really wanted to get a Tiffany ring. And I wanted to have both my engagement ring and my wedding band to be from them. I did not have a formal wedding. We literally just got married at the, City Hall office. So because we, had gotten married already, before we actually went shopping for the rings, I really, I cannot explain, it's not that I didn't care so much, but I was more relaxed at this point, because I'm not trying to rush and get it at a certain date at this point. We already are legally married, and mind you, my day that I was planning to go shopping was going to be Christmas Eve, which is basically Christmas Day here in Japan. So, to cut to it, because we're 5 minutes in the video at this point, but I just wanted to explain what's going on. I ended up going to Tiffany I want to say a week or two before, before I actually got married. I think it was a week before. And I went to the Tiffany and Co. I always call it Tiffany and Co. Tiffany and Company, whatever, in Ikebukuro. And I didn't know this, but there's actually 2 different stores. And that's the reason I was a little bit confused, because I saw there was an advertisement with Beyonce on it, and I'm wait, is that a Tiffany store there too? And so I thought that I was wrong, that it was just an advertisement, but I was right. That actually was the back of a Tiffany store. If we went through a different door, it leads to the front where you can actually enter the store. But that's a whole other story. We ended up going to the Tiffany that I saw a while back, which is how I knew that there was one inside of Ikebukuro. I just didn't know that there was two inside of the same area. So there's one that's deep inside the station, which is next to where all of their luxury stores are. You'll find like Cartier. Is the Louis Vuitton store? No, Louis Vuitton is not there. But like lots of other like stores, like I don't know, like Gucci. There might be another Louis Vuitton there. I don't know, because I know there's one out on the street in Ikebukuro. But long story short, I actually was not very familiar with Ikebukuro, but my husband goes there all the time, so I've started going there a lot more too. For me, I used to go to Ikebukuro all the time, but only Ikebukuro station. I didn't really explore the station, like to go shopping inside the malls. I didn't really walk around the area much. I used to literally like, that would be my last stop, where I would just sit and people watch back when I was in university. And I did a little bit since I've, come back to Tokyo, because I actually moved to the Kansai area. So, I'm here in Tokyo, FYI. But, yeah. So I ended up going to the one that was, like, in the actual, like, luxury store area there. And when I went there, I had a horrible experience, just being totally honest. And if it weren't for me, like, being able to separate the brand from the staff, I would never go back there after my first experience. So, what happened was, when I went inside the store, it was, like, nobody there. And then eventually, like, literally moments later, like, as soon as me and my, then fiance walked inside the store, an older gentleman, like, walked in, and I think there might have been a woman with him, I don't know. But, like, a couple other people coming in afterwards. And there was a woman that was helping us, but she was not very keen on, like, trying to close the sale with us. It was very obvious that she thought that we weren't going to buy anything, which she technically was right, and she probably thought that we were really young or whatever the case was. I don't believe she was prejudiced. I just think she just didn't give a crap and saw me as being a waste of time. She seemed very hesitant and reluctant to help us. She seemed like she didn't even want to touch my hand when she had to measure my finger. And again, I can brush this off as a cultural difference because I understand that I am in Asia and that men are regarded more higher up, but I feel like there was more to it if there was more of a prejudice situation. The reason being was, I'll jump ahead a little bit. When I went back, my second time experience was a lot different than the first. So yeah, she offered to measure my fiance's hand first before me, which I thought was a little bit weird. And then when it came to me, it seemed like she was trying like not to touch me like as much as possible. And I'm like, you're already wearing gloves. She was not very friendly. She was not smiley. She wasn't really offering much advice. And like even my fiance felt super uncomfortable too, because like he's a really cheap person, being totally honest. He's very frugal. He's a doctor, but he's very frugal. And like he doesn't waste money at all. He uses money, for needs only. And so he was really just buying this for me because he wanted to make me happy. Obviously, I'm about to be his wife. So he wanted to give me something that I really wanted. And so I think he felt like kind of out of place being at the store because like he never bought himself any sort of like jewelry like that before. He never had a ring before. I actually never had a real ring before. I had like a thick, costume ring that I had back when I was in 8th grade that I got at Claire's, and that was it. I've never had like a real jewelry besides like the little 25-cent rings out of the vending machine, and that's been a long time, as you can imagine. So at the time I was 26 years old. I just turned 27. But yeah, and I should also tell you, this happened less than a month ago. So yeah, this was on it was about a month ago now, like December 15th, 16th, whatever. So exactly about a month ago this happened. And to again jump ahead with the story, ended up buying a ring on the 24th, Christmas Eve. But we'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, we went inside the store. She was not very friendly. And so, like, even if we, like, had the money to buy right then and there, which I'm sure he had it, but you know what I mean, like, planning to get it right then and there, I would not have allowed him to buy it because I would not have wanted that woman to have a commission. And I don't know what that woman's name was, but like I would know her when I see her. She was not friendly at all. She was very rude. She did not seem happy with her job. And again, I felt like it was more of a personal thing than a just I don't like my job, but I felt more like it was I hate my job because I have to deal with people like you type of thing. So, and then also of course I felt like, I don't know, this is just me. I felt there might have been a little bit of prejudice to the fact that, here I am, a black woman, I'm about to get married to a Japanese man, and I felt like initially people always feel like, oh, like, no, this is your sugar daddy type thing, and it's like we're practically the same age. So yeah, my now husband is 30 years old, so yeah, he's just a few years older than me. But anyway, yeah, I didn't feel comfortable inside the store at all. And she did measure my finger, and she was right. She knew right away that I wore 8.5. But I did honestly kind of make a slight mistake. Honestly, my band could be a little bit looser. Honestly, like it is a little bit tight. But I like it this way because the good thing about this is, one, anybody that's been following me for a while, I've actually gained a lot of weight recently. And so I know that when I lose a little bit of weight, my finger definitely will fluctuate a little bit, go down. It's only about, I wouldn't even say a half size, maybe like a 0.25 or whatever, could be a little bit smaller, because when I tried on this ring, might I also add, is actually size 8.5. When I tried on a 9, I found that it was too big, like where it was able to come off too easily. This ring can, come on and off easy as it is. I'm not having any trouble with this ring, so it doesn't feel tight. I don't feel like I'm losing circulation, whatever. Like the ring is fine for me. And then also, when it gets cold, or like even when I wash my hands here in Japan, there's a lot more space because your fingers shrink and fluctuate. So I actually learned a lot. And also, just let you know, like all of your fingers are different sizes. Like even from same finger, like ring finger, on your left and right hand, they're also different sizes. For example, your dominant hand is normally bigger, which is true. When I switch my ring over to my right hand, I can literally feel that it's tighter on this hand than it is on the other hand. So yeah, but you don't want your ring to be where it's like literally like suffocating your finger and it's turning colors and your finger hurts, etc. That shouldn't be going on. But leaving like a little bit of an indent is totally normal. Some people get their rings too big where they're like literally slouching on their finger, and that's something that I didn't want. I didn't want that little like crooked look where like I can't explain, like where your ring is like not straight. It's not what I personally wanted. So yeah, I do have bigger fingers than like the average woman, especially here in Japan. Normally the average ring size for a woman is about size 6, 7 or whatever, and so yeah, I'm literally basically a 9 almost as of right now. So yeah, I normally wear actually a size 8 in the past. Like for example, I tell you about that Claire's ring that I had, that was a size 8 ring. So my finger has definitely gotten a little bit bigger, but I'm okay with like keeping it like this because I saw it this way. Like this is me with weight, having weight gain. I, obviously when I have a family, I was just thinking to myself, like thinking ahead, like when I get pregnant, my finger is going to swell up. So if this is what I'm like being fat right now, wearing a size 8.5, basically, I feel like this is a good size for the time being because I can afford for my ring to actually go down a little bit. The only downside is my husband actually wears an 8.5 too, so we have the exact same ring and the exact same ring size, but we literally keep our rings on pretty much all day. We clean them throughout the day and we do take them off. So for example, when we take a shower and when we're doing our hair, like when I'm doing my makeup, when he puts wax inside of his hair, etc., or applying body lotion. But otherwise, like we wear them all day, and I really appreciate the fact that he still wears his ring even though he is a doctor. And of course he's constantly having to deal with things like putting on gloves and using hand sanitizer, especially nowadays with the virus and whatnot going on. But it's all another story. So anyway, she was really rude, didn't really talk much, didn't really seem like she was trying to like encourage us to buy other products or look at other things. It was just like she was just following us around the store like we were going to steal something. And I get it, like, she's trying to, be there if you guys have any questions or, to close the deal type thing. But it was like, no, she wasn't asking anything. She wasn't offering to help with anything. She didn't seem very friendly. And then like, even when I did ask questions, like, make suggestions, like say, which do you think is better? Or what would you suggest for, if you work this type of job? It's like, you should probably go platinum. Maybe a thicker band if you like, whatever. Like, that's the type of attitude she had. So long story short, we ended up going back basically a week later on Christmas. And I was really shocked because, Japan, they don't really celebrate Christmas like how we do in the US. But apparently I was wrong when it comes to holiday gifts. They do still buy jewelry. The store went from being completely empty to being extremely busy. So of course they made sure they had people on the floor to get to us right away. As soon as we went inside the store, we were greeted by a super, super nice woman. And I think her name was like Takahashi or something like that. Something. Loved her. She was super, super nice, super friendly, super bubbly. And as my husband said, they had their ace people out on the floor because I knew it was Christmas Eve. And so we went there right before we went out to the New York Grill. And if you watch that video, you'll see that I'm literally carrying around my Tiffany bag that's right here in that video. But yeah, we went there right before so I could have like, my wedding band. But we had our dinner together and I was super, super happy. Which is why in that video, which you guys are going to cringe when you watch, I'm constantly like, all inside the video. Because like, this is the most expensive gift I've ever received. And of course it has so much value. It means so much to me because my husband got it for me. So, and I know that it was hard for him to buy. Because again, like, my husband, like, he does not like to spend money on anything, okay? So he started, loosening up because of me, and I'm trying to respect, obviously, of course, his boundaries too, and trying to make him happy as well. So I've been trying to cut back and be more frugal as well too. But yeah, he knew that this was really important to me, so he did do that. So yeah, so when we went inside the store, she was immediately super, super friendly. We knew exactly what we wanted right away. But I did kind of, I wanted a little more expensive ring. Just gonna keep it real. My husband was like, oh, can we please wait? And, we can upgrade a ring later on. I was like, what? You're already about to go out and spend $1,000 on dinner. He bought me a new coat before we went there. And he also bought me a pair of heels. He bought me tights that evening. And he bought a Christmas cake. So it's and my birthday's the next week and New Year. Okay, fine. But I'm not gonna lie. Looking back, I kind of do wish that I did get the ring. Because there's two different rings like this one. This is just the regular Tiffany. You can't really see. This is the regular Tiffany and Co. band. You already see the video showing the rings, what it looks like. But it's literally just the company's logo on it, and it's a platinum ring. It is a 3mm ring. It is thick and it is heavy. You can feel this ring. It's not a light, dainty, gold wedding band, but yeah, there was a ring just like this, except that it has a diamond on both sides or three sides of it or whatever. It's not a high quality diamond, but it's a little diamond on it. And so I did kind of feel like I wanted that. But yeah, I didn't argue it. I let it go. I was whatever. I just mentioned it one time. So she heard me. She made sure that when she grabbed the rings, bought us inside of the little private room, she bought both of them. And we both noticed that. She was trying to encourage us to argue. I'm not blaming her for it. It's good salesmanship. So the way that it worked was she put both of the rings on the little black tray thing, put them on the table, and then left out of the room to get whatever paperwork stuff she had to get. And so while she's doing it, we're supposed to be trying on the rings. I just ignored it because I don't need to do that, because I know that once I put it on my finger, I'm gonna be oh, please, husband, buy it for me. So yeah, I didn't do it, but I thought that it was cute and funny that she tried to upsell us in that. No complaints. I'm just saying that I thought this was a good experience, to be honest. So anyway, she never mentioned the fact that, I should try on that ring. Nothing else, didn't push us, but she left it there as an option in case you wanted to compare the two. So the whole time that we're talking, she's congratulations, super, super nice, encouraging us to try on the ring, see if we like it or not. Because, at first, my husband also thought that he wanted to get an 8 as well. And then he was maybe I should get an 8.5. I feel like the 8 is too tight. And so I'm thinking, shoot, it's funny, we literally have the same size finger, which is actually really sad. But I was thinking to myself that I felt a little bit hesitant because should I get the 8.5? Because if I lose weight and go back to where I used to be, this ring is going to become too big for me. But then I was no, I'm planning to have children. If anything, this ring will still be too small. Because what if I go up to a size 9? So yeah. Anyway, long story short, I have no regrets. I had a chance to try my ring several times. I knew what it looked like and what it felt like, and I was totally fine with it. So yeah, my fingers are just a little bit chubby. But back on subject. So yeah, we ended up sitting inside the room, and it was a nice little private room they had for us where we could talk and we could look at the rings and have a little questionnaire for you to fill out, which honestly I feel was a little bit too personal, a little bit embarrassing, because it asks you everything: your address, your email, what your job is, everything. And so yeah, she was nice. She made small talk with us, and she was really complimenting to us. You're so cute, whatever. And she wasn't too nosy. She didn't ask how we met or anything like that, but she just asked if we when we were getting married. And of course we're already married, which just is a little bit backwards, because of course normally people you're buying a ring either before you get married, or you're buying a ring I don't know, the day of, or whatever the case was. We'd already gotten married a couple of days ago, but still recent. But anyway, after we were decided on the rings, he was gonna pay for it, and she saw that we were trying to take pictures and videos of the rings and each other and with our rings, she actually offered to take photos for us. So she took the photos that I showed on Patreon. I think I'm also gonna put them in this video too. Where I showed us standing with the rings, and it was super awkward because I was I wanted to get my brand new jacket out of my bag, because here I am wearing a sports jacket, training jacket, and he has on a nice pea coat or whatever you call those little jacket types things. So it's mix match, but whatever. Not mix match, but You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So yeah, I was hesitant on that, and I felt really embarrassed. I was like, oh my god, like she's taking a picture for us. Like, how do I look? What do I say? What should I do? So like, we just started like laughing at each other because we both felt really awkward. But anyway, I really appreciated that. That was super kind of her, and I love that experience. In fact, if that was my first experience, I would just be raving about Tiffany right now. But I felt like that first experience really like left a bad impression of Tiffany on me. So, anyway, I was over that, and I told my husband, like, after we left, I was really happy that we didn't buy the rings the first day, because I'm the type of person where it's like, I want my experience to be good. If I'm going to spend all of that money, you need to be kind to me, okay? Like, I want to look back and be able to tell the story and be able to remember how kind the staff was, how good of an experience that I had. And to make matters worse, I forgot to mention this part, but I actually didn't even want to go to the Ikebukuro store. I only went there because it was more convenient, and we were running late on Christmas. I really had in my mind planned out that I wanted to go to the Ginza store, which is their flagship main store, the flagship main store, in order to buy the rings. So I was already, compromising with my husband, because he was going to go all the way to Ginza, but I could tell he really didn't want to. It's like, we're risking being late for dinner. And I was like, you know what, crap, you're right. And so I was like, I had to think, do you really want to get the ring today for dinner, or are you okay with waiting, another day and getting the ring from the store you want to get it from? So I'm glad that we did go ahead and get it there, because we had a great experience with, we're just going to call her Taka-san. Taka-san, okay? But, anyway, yeah, so, or Miss Taka. After, like, we got our rings, and I told him, like, how I felt about that, and he felt the same way. And it's really funny, because, like, I'm not excusing people's behavior. I'm just trying to think of what could possibly be going on inside their mind. People oftentimes don't realize who they're talking to, because you think that when you're talking to somebody that has money or, good job or career, whatever, that they're going to be buying the most expensive thing inside the store, because I did not get the most expensive ring in that store by far. And on top of that, people think that, if you have money, you're supposed to dress like it 24/7. My husband's just wearing regular clothes. I'm just wearing regular clothes, and I definitely don't have no money, but he does. And I mean, he's my husband now, so it's fine. But anyway, what was I about to say? It just really upsets me that I see people treat both him and or I bad, whether we're together or not, based on the, assumption that you do or do not have money. Because I think people look at my husband and they think he's just a college kid, or he's not going to be able to buy anything inside the store. And it's like, you have no idea what people's real work is, what their job is. You would not look at my husband when we're out on like a regular date and be like, oh wow, like he's a medical worker. You wouldn't think he's a medical professional at all. You would think in your mind that maybe he's, some retail worker, or, whatever, even a host. It would not cross your mind that, this man, is working in the medical field. But it shouldn't matter what you think he does for a living. When you're dealing with a customer inside the store, your goal should be to try to sell to them. And even if you think, oh, they're not going to really buy anything, don't you feel kind of out of place and weird not acting super, promotional and sale-like? Because if your coworkers and boss sees you acting this way, they're not going to be like, oh, we understand they weren't going to buy anything. They're going to see you as not doing your job. So that just really blew me and amazed me. But I hope that Taka-san got a lot of sales that day. She definitely deserved all of the whatever they get, commissions, whatever crap they have at their workplace. She deserves it all. So again, no hard feelings towards Tiffany. I still love the brand because I like the quality of their rings and I like the environment and atmosphere of the store, minus that woman. But I will say that was an awful experience, and I wasn't the only person. When I looked at the reviews for that store, I saw that other Japanese people had the same feelings towards being in that store. They didn't say who made them feel that way, but they said they found the staff to be very unfriendly and not very kind. But anyway, so here goes the issue that I did have. I love Taka, but I felt like maybe they should have explained this a little bit better to us. They gave us the option to get these little Tiffany and Co. Like wedding certificate, holder thingies or whatever. And it's not really a holder, but like it's literally like Tiffany and Co.'s very own like certificate. And so she showed us two different ones, but she didn't do. I'm not trying to bash or just telling you my honest experience. In my opinion, really our opinion, she did not do a good job explaining that you only get one or the other. So as you can see, this one you can clearly see the Tiffany and Co. logo. With this one, you cannot see it at all. But if you look very, very closely, yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it. If you look very closely, like right here, it says Tiffany and Co. there. It's like ingrained into it in like the color of the envelope. So yeah, for this one, I'm gonna get you guys all up in my business. It's literally like an English version of it. So I'll cover my business. Let me adjust this. Okay. It's literally like an English version of the certificate. And this is complimentary, and you can put like your wedding photo there. And then they also give you the one that has the visible, where you can actually see the Tiffany logo on the outside of it. Not that it really matters, but I'm just saying the difference. It has this sort of like pocket thing, and it gives you the Japanese version of it. I forgot what they call this, Kohen something, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about if you live in Japan. But yeah, they have it where you can get a Japanese version of it. I'm trying to open it, people. Making a mess. But you have this like thick paper, and it's like outlined in blue. Their little like blue, green, teal Tiffany signature color. So yeah, I was thinking that we get to have both. It's the best of both worlds. He gets to have one in Japanese for his language, his culture, and then I get one in English, right? Well, wrong. I noticed when we like got out of the store and like we're getting a taxi. We're getting a taxi. I think we took the train. I think we took the train. Yeah, we took the train initially to get back to Shinjuku Station because we were getting ready to go to the Hyatt Park Hyatt, New York Grill. And I noticed, I was like, oh, we only have one, and it was the Japanese one. And so we like made a plan to go back up there and call, I think the next day or whatever, so we can go get the certificate on Monday, because my husband had to work on Christmas Day. He actually took off Christmas Eve so he can make sure that we can have Christmas dinner together. Living in Japan, we celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, but honestly, I'm used to that. I grew up inside of a ghetto black household in Chicago, and we also celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve. We opened up our gifts at midnight, and we oftentimes normally eat or do some Christmas related stuff on Christmas Eve rather than Christmas Day. But that's all a whole nother story. So anyway, yeah, when we called the next day, they basically told us that we had it all wrong, and that you only get to choose one. However, she didn't ask us which one we wanted. I was just like, we want, the certificate, because she asked us if we wanted it, but she didn't make it clear that you choose one or the other. So I guess whichever one I had in my hand, she took that one and put it inside of our bag. That was not made clear to us, because he didn't even understand, which is why he called and he was like, hey, Taka-san, she forgot to give us whatever. So he asked if they could mail it to us, and because he was thinking they were going to be able to mail it, and I was like, I don't think they're going to mail it to you, because why would they pay money for something that they could just make you go up there and get for free, especially since now it turned out that it was our mistake because we didn't understand. So technically our mistake because we didn't understand. Really, they should have done a better job explaining it, y'all. Now this is the part that pissed me off, my part 3 of going back to Tiffany's. So now the third time going inside that store. This time a different person again, because the woman that we had either wasn't there or she was busy with another client. They were not busy, but when we went inside the store, we had another woman come to us, and she had the same type of funky attitude as the first one, except arguably worse. So we came back inside the store, and honestly my husband could have done a little bit of a better job, keeping up with it. But yeah, when he came back to the store and gave them the certificate, she literally now I want you guys to look at this. I'm gonna put it up against my hand. Do you see that little itsy bit of white? She literally grabbed the certificate case here, this exact one, and the woman sat there in a chair across from us, and she's rubbing it and doing all of this like we just damaged some $10 million piece of property. Tiffany doesn't even sell these certificates. They're not offered for sale. These are given to you complimentary for buying wedding bands. Why do you care? Because let's face it, after it's been inside of another customer's hand, even if these were for sale, they're not going to sell this to somebody else. Why does it matter? And then the even crazier part is, you didn't pay for this. You're getting paid minimum wage to work this shitty ass job. They're probably paying you 200,000 yen or 250,000 yen at best. You're getting paid off of commissions. Why do you care? We are paying customers. We bought 2 rings from you. How petty. And it's like she was waiting, and of course, him being Japanese, he did apologize to them. But I told him too at the end of the store, I was like, I want to get this chick's name, and I forgot her name already. But yeah, it's she's literally rubbing it in front of us, sitting right in front of us. It was just completely flat out rude. I could never see them doing something like that. The Tiffany store in New York or Chicago or anywhere in the U.S. for that matter. But just super rude. And I'm thinking to myself, this little itty bitty mark on the end, and it's crazy because even the new one that we got, because it's a folder. It's just a cheap ass folder. It's thick, but it's not, some $10,000 one. Even this one, it just naturally gets these little edges on it. And these weren't even kept inside of his bag. I kept up with this one. I kept it inside the Tiffany bag. It just gets that way. We only had it for 2 days. We didn't purposefully damage it, and we wanted the English one so badly we were willing to trade in the Japanese one. Because that's what they told us. They said, for us to bring back the other one, they'd exchange it. She literally spoke to another staff member or manager, whoever it was, showed it to them, and rubbed it with her. And so I'm literally just looking at her, and I'm talking shit about her. She's across the room. I'm sure that the other people at the store told her what was going on. I didn't apologize. I gave her a stank ass look right back. And honestly, I wanted to smack the girl because I was thinking to myself, like, how rude and disrespectful. And so, of course, when she came back the next time and I told my husband, like, before she did it, I knew they were just going to give us both of them for free. Because I'm like, what are you guys going to do with that one? That would be petty for you to keep the Japanese one when you know you're not going to give it to another customer. Because I thought they weren't going to give it to another customer even before they had the audacity to complain about the little edge of the folder. Because we've touched it. We're in times of corona. It's just a piece of paper. So anyway, just as I expected, she gave us both of them, walked us out of the store, and her little bows, thank you so. I ain't say shit. I looked at her, rolled my eyes, and I left. I was beyond that. And I was so glad that my husband agreed with me too, because I feel like a lot of times when you think these things or feel this way, you feel like it's all just in your mind. It's just you because you're black or you're a foreigner. No. My husband felt that she was treating us rude too, and what she was doing was childish and disrespectful. And he's a Japanese man and a white collar worker too, not just some bummy old raggedy ass man. So it's not just in my mind. So I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm getting frustrated just thinking about it. My nose is itchy. But that was my last experience that I had with them. Honestly, after that, it made me kind of feel like, do I really want to come in and get an engagement ring? Because their rings are really overpriced. Like, for example, the ring that I want costs over $50,000 in Japanese money. It's like, 5 million yen for the ring that I want. And it's not even 3 carats. So that's on par, basically what, 40,000 plus US dollars for that ring? I could get a gigantic stone for that much money if I went to another store. So you're literally just paying for the name. And after having that last experience, it honestly kind of made me have second thoughts. So I want to love the brand. I love my ring that I got, but I honestly, if I could do it over again, I don't know if I would go back to the Ikebukuro store. And if there is an option, to be honest, I don't think I want to go there to even get my rings cleaned for the first time. I think we should go to the Ginza store or even wait till we can go to the US or whatever the case is. But not to say that the ones in the US are going to be a million times better, but I like the fact that at least in the US, when you get bad service, you can actually get help and actually complain to someone, whereas in Japan, it's a cultural difference. They just don't do that here. You don't complain to managers, and they don't really care if you do complain to them. It's just taken completely differently. So, yeah. That's really it. So the last thing that I do want to say is that I also was a little bit disappointed. Maybe it's just what they have online, but it would have been nice to give us a little bow tie to put on the box and a little ribbon, because you're paying all that money for it, might as well. But I guess because they knew we were already married and we came in there together, and traditionally, even though in that store it seemed like everybody was coupled up, but I know that normally it should be a surprise gift or whatever the case is. I found these little boxes to be really difficult to open, so you have to press and hold to open it. Now it did it easily, but I felt that before was harder to do, and I think the main reason was you think that the box opens up from the top here, like this. Okay, now it's doing it easily. Okay, that was the reason. You have to press and hold and push all at the same time, because you just push it and it doesn't open, and that confused the crap out of me. So push in and hold. So push, squeeze, and pull up. But yeah, this part actually goes on the bottom. The smaller part is on the bottom. The big part is on the top. And maybe that's traditional. That shows a little I know about rings. But I'm used to the box being even. And if it's not even, you would think the smaller part is the lid naturally, because that's how normal boxes. See, now I'm having trouble. Use your thumb. Okay, that's how normal boxes would work. But nope, other way around. So we never use this stuff. I've literally just been keeping it inside of the box and inside of the Tiffany bag. We've been using the Tiffany bag to keep our scrapbooking stuff, because we were supposed to have made a scrapbook on New Year's Day, and we bought the book and we decorated it, but we never actually started putting the pictures and stuff together inside of it. So this is a really long video, but all I want to say is I had 2 really bad experiences and only 1 good experience, and I felt the only reason why I had that good experience was, of course, she knew that she was likely to close that deal because it's Christmas Eve, and of course we're there together as a couple, and she was just a nice person altogether. But the other 2 ladies that I had, they were just super rude, disrespectful, and I didn't like the way that they behaved. Like, even the last one, well, she's just doing her job. No, there's a way that you can do it where it's professional. If she felt that the folder was too damaged, you can just tell me. Just say, oh, like, it's a little bit damaged here. I don't know if, we can accept this back. Just say that. Don't just sit there and quietly... Like, come on. Like, who does that? That's rude. And then to not say anything, and then to walk away, and then act like you're doing us a huge favor. It's like, bitch, you act like you handmade this yourself. Tiffany & Co. is not your company. You are a low salaried hoe. So excuse me, but I just gotta say that because, like, you know what I'm talking about? She acted like she personally made this crap. Like it was gonna come out of her paycheck or something. We called in advance about what, the situation. And it was their fault that we had to come back to the store. They should have given us something else complimentary too. A drink or something. Because it was their fault that we did not understand you only get one or the other. So whatever. Ultimately, I'm grateful. I like my ring. And I was glad to have my first little luxury experience. But at the same time, it also kind of pissed me off seeing how differently people treat you. Depending on whether they think you're going to give them money or not. And whether they think you have money or not. And also how petty staff can be at a luxury store. It was just so crazy to me because it's not like we're trying to return rings that had scratches on it or something. We were literally returning a piece of paper, a folder that comes to you complimentary for getting a wedding band or engagement ring or whatever. So that's all. So I'm done with this video. That's my review. And yeah, you'll see these rings side of my Park Hyatt video as well, and me all happy with my ring. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm happy with my ring. I like my ring. It's comfortable. I'm glad that I got it. I'm fine with the size that I got it in too. Again, I had several opportunities to try it on. I'm okay with it. Again, you'll see people normally suggest that you get it bigger than this because they'll tell you, oh, you shouldn't leave an indent at all, or it should kind of be like where I can't really explain it, like more loose on your finger. But I feel like this is fine because it comes on and off easily. I have no issue taking off my ring, so I don't have to like twist it and do it. Like I don't have to do all of that type of stuff. So get whatever you find that feels comfortable for you, but definitely try on your rings because keep in mind, depending on not only how tall your band is, but how thick it is will change what size you should wear. For example, you might wear a size 8 ring. Like for example, I probably could wear 8 if I got a different size, but my band is actually thick. So there's less space for my finger inside the ring too. It's not just about how tall the ring is, but how thick it is too, the width of it. So that is it for this video. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope I answered some of your questions. But I would still suggest the brand Tiffany. I like my ring, but maybe go to a different store to not enjoy the Ikebukuro experience. Yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I hope you watch another video. Bye.